Hey everyone, welcome to the Uncanny J-Men. I am JADe.
And I am Josh.
And today we are looking at another Marvel trailer. I feel like they're coming out left and right now. But we are looking at the second official trailer for Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
So if you've seen our last one for She-Hulk, the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to play the trailer, not in its entirety, and talk over it. Go watch it in its entirety on your own. What we are going to do is hit play and pause it during key scenes that we want to talk about and kind of go a little bit more in depth and some of the weird, cool things that we've seen throughout this trailer. Because there are some things that I was focused on something in the foreground that was the main thing happening, but in the background, there's some interesting things. So we'll get into that as we go through and see that. So let's dive in.
Kids, get your popcorn now.
Real fast, I wanted to point out, I was like, beginning, there's not a whole lot to talk about. We've seen it in the other trailer. But I noticed in this, the tree in the background is the same tree we see Thor at, where he puts his Stormbreaker axe hammer thing there. So it's kind of like setting that we just saw it in the front. Now we're actually seeing it from this angle. So it's obvious that that is not on Earth. We're on some other planet where he's retiring potentially.
Yeah, this does connect a couple of the scenes that we saw from the last trailer. So we have the tree in the background where we know that he spent some time. We also see him in the midst of some sort of a battle with these people with this grayish type of skin that look very similar to the children right here. Looks like the adult version of these children. So we know that there's some sort of a battle going on in that planet as well. And so now we know that that battle is on the same planet as that giant tree.
Definitely. And that Korg was with him for this whole thing.
Let me tell you the story of the space.
Well, here's the battle. Those are the people that we see them, and the Guardians are with them as well. So this is definitely going to be early in the movie when he's still with the Guardians. Since last we saw him, he was leaving with the Guardians.
Thor Odinson. He was no ordinary man. He was a god.
So here again, we see him with the Guardians. And I don't know if you notice, on the right side there, you got Kraglin wearing that fin. We saw it a little bit previously, but we get to see him. So he's definitely going to be a full part of the Guardians at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And yeah, Thor's got a new outfit there, trying to fit in, trying to be one of this group, trying to change his look a little bit to be a little more of a Guardians of the Galaxy rather than Thor, God of Thunder.
Definitely.
After saving planet Earth for the fire.
And then in that last scene, which I'll go back a little bit, we saw it a little bit in the first trailer as well. It's obvious that New Asgard is a tourist trap. They've got golf courses there now. They got cruise ships rolling up. It's definitely a big tourist trap. Look at it.
Yeah, and those beautiful fields that we had seen in the previous movies of this location, it's a golf course now.
Yeah.
We have cruise ships coming into the bay. So it is no longer just this little town where the Asgardians have relocated. It has built itself up.
500th time Thor set off on
We see him transform into a new outfit for this movie with that fur coat, and he's got his two goats with him also.
Yeah, with the names that I'm not going to try.
Yep. And again, this is the shot that we mentioned previously that it looks like there should be a third person.
Certainly does.
Because of the way they frame this.
And it's interesting too, because you can kind of see just barely to Thor's left, it looks like there's a face. It's kind of hard to tell exactly, but like, what is that thing on the pile? I tried going closer to that, and it looks almost like a face on the top of it. So I'm really curious where they are and what's behind them.
Interesting.
But yeah, it does look like there's supposed to be a person standing to the left of those three. Thor in the middle, two people accompanying him.
Well, he got in shape. He went from dead bod to god bod.
And that shows that he gets in shape at the beginning when he's still with the Guardians. I mean, we saw him with this pop-in collar. He was fit at that point. So it definitely feels like the beginning of the movie may move a little quickly with him being a part of the Guardians, getting in shape, and moving on to the rest of the bulk of the movie.
Yeah, a situation of we left him in one shape, but for this movie, we want him back in his known Thor shape. So clearly addressing that right from the start.
And after all that, he reclaimed.
Oh, this scene, I like this part of the trailer where he sees Mjolnir put together. Look at that smile on his face, and he's reaching out for Mjolnir.
Yep.
And flies away.
Yep. Like seeing an old friend, reaching out for that hug, and then they run by to hug someone else.
And again, we've seen this part of this scene in the previous trailer. This looks like New Asgard.
Yeah.
And so there is a battle going on New Asgard. I mean, you can even see just to the right of the hammer in the background there, that's an Asgardian soldier. So they're in New Asgard. Whatever is happening was brought home to them, came to New Asgard.
Claimed his title as the one and only Thor. Oh, spoke too soon.
So this helmet. What do you think of it?
A little over the top. And I love the dynamic here because we just saw Jane, who's in an outfit very similar to the classic Thor outfit he has been wearing up to this point. And we get to him, and he's adorned in this golden armor, this very fancy, colorful thing. It feels like he's trying something new. And
I mean, yeah, it feels very like All-Father Thor, like Odin Thor, where he's got the Odin Force and like that very regal kind of thing. It's not quite the same, but it is pretty similar. Like it's got that feel where he's seen as like the father, but he's not, because he's not really in charge of Asgard anymore, or New Asgard. But it has that feel. And obviously those two scenes are not the same, because we see him without a helmet and the Mjolnir going to Jane. And now we cut to this where he's got a helmet on, and then this is obviously after the battle. So he didn't recognize her with her helmet on.
Mm.
But as soon as it disappears, then he's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a lot of destruction on New Asgard. So
Yeah, it looks like this fight was won, but with some pretty significant costs.
I imagine that they're going to be losing, and then Jane shows up and then win, or stave off the attack of Gorr, the God Butcher, or whoever is attacking that causes them to then leave.
Yeah.
The old ex-girlfriend.
So we see this room twice in this trailer. This is the first time, and you don't see a whole lot here. So I'll want to wait until the next time we see it to discuss the background, because there are some statues here that are very interesting, but we'll discuss it when it shows up again.
What's it been like? 3-4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days. Give or take.
So I need to remember. I don't remember. Was she blipped?
Oh.
Because that math adds up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we know that, but maybe.
I think her picture may have flashed up on the screen when they were saying people who blipped out.
Interesting.
And so that math would add up. Oh, what has been 3 years? Actually, 8 years. That's a 5-year blip.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Take.
Am I sensing feelings?
He's got great delivery. He is a goofball, and it works for his character now. It's maybe not very comic book Thor of this character anymore, but I love what he's done with it. You know.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
And I also want to say, I also love how colorful most of this film is. Like, it's absolutely beautiful, the things that they've done on each of these planets. And as we'll see later, it also works as a fantastic contrast to Gorr. But I absolutely love what they've done with the scenery.
Yeah, right.
So I wanted to stop here first because it looks like this is where we're getting introduced to Gorr for the God Butcher, the villain of the movie, for the first time. And we see here what looks to be maybe his ship. it's very unimposing. Like it's not like a Thanos ship. It's not like this gaudy, big, amazing ship. It's very just like a ship for one. Like it's a small ship.
Yeah, it shows that he has his plan, he has his goal, and it is all encompassing. It is all that he cares about. He's not here for the glory of it. He's just here to get a job done.
Yeah.
The only ones who gods care about is themselves.
So I wanted to do two parts of this because there's like we saw the blade, which is iconic for Gorr. It's a very, very, very powerful sword. And then we start seeing the actual character here. Very shadowy, dark, very reminiscent of just death, like lots of death.
Yeah, and I'm really curious how they're going to handle the sword. Because the sword is a big deal in the comics. Here, it looked like it was like a medieval sword, like a broadsword or something. Just, it looked very unimposing. So
yeah,
maybe that
not
just
quite the same
part,
design.
Yeah, but maybe that's part of his whole thing is that he looks unimposing, but has like this hidden power that he's able to then kind of sneak up on them. But here we see all the colors that we've had leading up to this point. Immediately showing him everything's black and white. He's just sucking the color out of the environment around him.
It's also very interesting if you look around him right now. It's very like vine, but not vines. It's like tentacles, but not tentacles. It's like, so a little bit of history of the sword. I believe it's called All Black. Is the sword. It's actually like a symbiote sword thing, and this is very reminiscent of symbiote, but I'm not sure they're actually going to touch on that or not because it doesn't look quite the same.
Yeah.
So it could be that his ship is just a living ship and the sword is a living sword, but they're not quite symbiotes. But it was interesting that the parallels they decided to continue with for this character for that.
Yeah.
And there is the face reveal. Let's get a little bit more light there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. He's got like scars and injuries just like in two lines going down his head and then like all over his face. It's something to note because this is not how he looks elsewhere in the trailer. Later on, he's going to look different. So this looks to be either this is a different time and then he's changed into how he looks later or something. They seem to be different points in his timeline. So I'm wondering if this is going to be like a part of a flashback of kind of explaining why he hates God so much, showing why he hates God so much. But wherever this applies, you see he has been through some stuff.
And also to note, it looks like there are blood splatters already on his outfit. So either he doesn't wash his outfit in between battles or he just killed someone.
Yep. And his hands in particular. He's got the darkness all over his hands.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is my vow. All gods will die.
I'm positing here, but really it was like the Gorr part is positing. It's like that. I mean, that's his motivation. Like that's all we need to know about him. There is a tendency sometimes in Marvel films where the villain is very one-dimensional. It's like, I'm bad to be bad. It could maybe come off that way. That's one concern I do have. I'll say is that it may come off very one-dimensional. It's like, I'm bad because I'm trying to kill all the gods and not really much more. But we'll see. I'm still excited, very excited for the character and see what he does. So
in the comics, he has a very valid background. Like his reasoning makes logical sense. So if they do show some sort of a backstory to him, if they do explain that, I do think this can be a character that you don't want him to win, but you can kind of relate to at least where you understand where he's coming from, of how he broke and became who he is. But in that scene, we see the scars aren't there anymore, or maybe they aren't there yet. But instead, he's got these. Yeah, let's rewind a little bit. We have these lines now on his face. So he's just painted. He's just a little different than he was in that other scene.
yeah, this almost looks like a pre-war-torn Gorr. Maybe so. This is the flashback before he gets in all those fights and kills a bunch of gods. Yeah,
And there's color, the bright colors of the scenario of the scenery of the worlds, it is being allowed where he is now. So he's not currently sapping that light out. So he's not currently menacing in this scene. But there are other times where he takes the light out of the color out of other people.
Yeah. Love that. Good catches.
Yeah.
I just want to say that was very, very impressive what you did back there.
I wanted to stop here. This I thought looked very interesting. So I'm going to go through it kind of a little slower. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So we see her land and swing Mjolnir, and it breaks apart as she swings. And the different pieces go out to hit people. And then you can see them, their trajectory, they turn back up as if they're going to return back to the hammer.
Yes. And she finishes that swing with most of it gone, with just a handle and just a little bit left on it.
Yeah, you can see right there.
It's missing a whole bunch.
That is
only in
cool.
Marvel. Only in Marvel can they destroy a weapon and somehow make it more powerful.
It's incredible. It's like, I mean, you take the arrow where you can whistle, you know, because the fin, that whole, I forget what they call it, the Yaka arrow, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
They almost just took that but applied it to Mjolnir, which is also like incredibly more powerful than that. So it's like now she can control individual shards of it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's just my first bad guy.
He using just his body and a sword looks like he is destroying an entire planet.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know he's powerful. We've seen Nowhere, which is the head of a Celestial, has been in the movies. Well, in the comics, Gorr is the one that beheaded that Celestial. So we know what he's capable of, taking out these big beings. We can see here, okay, if this is someone who can take out gods and Celestials, this is how. He's destroying a whole planet in one fell swoop.
And we have seen planet gods.
We have
as well. We've seen Ego, the living planet, as like he's a god-like figure. Maybe this is some equivalent kind of thing where he's destroying this god-like planet. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You never forget your first.
I will point out this scene looks like that destroyed planet that they're now fighting on.
Yeah.
And it was very lightning-like in the last thing, but it definitely was Gorr doing it. But I feel like that may be setting up one of their big battles, if not one of the final battles on this destroyed planet, wherever it is.
And the whole area is being consumed by darkness in the background. That darkness that is Gorr, is his character.
Yeah. I had to pause on this. Like, actually,
Yes.
I think there's a better shot of it. A little forward, right there. We've got Valkyrie using Zeus's lightning bolt. So definitely feel like that means Gorr kills Zeus.
Yeah.
There was, I think there's a scene earlier that didn't quite pause on the exact spot, but where we see Gorr's face and then it's him like talking to probably some god saying that he's going to kill them, but it's all like darked out. We can't see who that god is. That potentially could be Zeus, or it could be, hopefully it's not a character we love. They can do that.
Yeah. And I also, so in real life, when there's darkness and you shine light, the light cuts through the darkness. Well, here, the only light is coming from Zeus's lightning bolt, which is being used as a sword here, and it's being consumed by the darkness. The darkness is all around them. Everything has lost its color. But you see, like, it's trying to shine that light, and yet the darkness is like stopping it.
Yeah. And then we have the chariot crashing through the window, which I'm pretty sure this is just maybe them arriving at Olympia, but I didn't recognize it directly from previous shots of the ship going through. So I just wanted to show it just because maybe this is somewhere else, but I doubt it. It looks exactly like Olympia, where Zeus is going to be staying.
And you do see the goats in the front leading the way.
Yep.
Like the other gods have killed.
Oh, this shot. I mean, it does not look like the actor in any way. Like there's sometimes where you see someone, you're like, oh no, that's that person. Good job by the makeup department. And the actor himself. I'm blanking on his name. I'm not sure. Christian Bale, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like kudos to him. Good actors, like in makeup and stuff. You don't even tell it's them.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, wait. That's the scene I was talking about. I knew it. Wait, I'm going back.
Yep.
Go back a little bit. This was a scene I was talking about. I thought I'd already seen it. So right here, he's talking to the god. And in the foreground is a god that he's probably about to kill. But we can't see it. It's all on that right side, all blurry. And it may be Zeus. And hopefully it's not someone we love.
Yeah.
Something worth fighting for.
Good villain shots in this trailer.
Yes.
I keep on showing him in this destroyed planet, like final battle area. And again, completely, as you said, dark, like grayish, and just his eyes have color. Very, very cool shot.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't always get their villains right, but man, does this one look promising. This one looks good.
And then he's also dark. Like
completely.
He's no color. And we saw his outfit. His outfit has plenty of color. Okay. Let me go back a couple of shots just so we can see the background a little bit better. So this is where especially I was like, oh, first time through, second time through, I just really noticed her in the foreground. But we see in the background several statues, including on the left side, Red Skull. Where like cloaked Red Skull, kind of like the one who's guarding the Soul Stone, which I know there's some theories out there and talk about like that he became some entity or he was embodying of an entity. But then on the right side, we see Living Tribunal in the front. That's like the three-headed with the cloak kind of thing, like shawl, whatever, over the faces, and the Watcher. And then the other two on the other side, I wasn't recognizing off the top of my head. I'd have to look those up. Do you know who those might be?
I don't. Those two I haven't been able to figure out either.
Okay. The one in the back, that's like the female shape, looks more familiar as like a galactic or like the Eternity, maybe. I'll have to look at that, but those look like not celestials, but like the biggest cosmic gods out there.
Do you think it could be Lady Death?
Maybe. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of options on who those two could be.
Yeah, I just thought this was very interesting in that there's like a Red Skull statue.
Yeah, it is definitely an interesting group. And the Living Tribunal, we have seen them in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Spoilers? I guess it was a very brief scene when they're when they're going through all these different universes. At one point, they pass through a universe where the Living Tribunal is there. It's a very brief scene, but we are now seeing him again. So I feel like there's some substance there that he's clearly in the background now of multiple different areas.
That might mean something.
Yeah.
Actually, there's like a app game I play where they just added a Living Tribunal event thing in it. So maybe they're teasing it coming, being a bigger part of the future of the MCU.
Could be.
Let's see who you are. I take off your disguise and flick.
Oh, I'm pausing on this screen and not the last one.
Thank you.
Obviously, they're infiltrating, and he gets caught. So his rams, his goats that are with the ship, maybe that's when they're crashing through. Is after this, and he calls them back after he's captured. Revealed, they fight because that's what we saw where the Mjolnir was kind of breaking off into a bunch of pieces. They fight there, and then they get like Gorr shows up, kills Zeus or steals Zeus, whatever it is, and that's when they have to get the goats back to leave.
You flicked too hard, damn it!
Shall we help them? Then eventually. Great.
And I'm pausing here as the last scene because this is the last thing of the trailer, and I just like this picture as the last thing we have up instead of just a credits scene, like a title screen or anything like that, because this is just a nice, cool shot.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So that is the second trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder, and usually we see a third one closer to the actual air date, like a week or two ahead of time for the actual movie. So we'll be covering that when that comes out as well. But what did you think of trailer number 2?
Mostly, I loved it. There are some things that they added to it that, I mean, the introduction of Gorr, I didn't know what to expect from the character. I knew enough about him from the comics to know that he could be a very imposing character. I love the way they're handling, like, just what we've seen. We haven't seen a lot, but just like the little shots, he's not moving quick. He's not talking quick. He's not about strength and speed and overpowering. He seems just very confident and kind of terrifying in a very different way. And just the contrast between having everything be so colorful everywhere, except wherever he is. I think that's just very, very well done. So I love that introduction. And just seeing the different shots of Thor and seeing that, okay, he is going to be traveling around a lot with this, what looks like a core group, and just seeing how they're going to be moving about. This one goes a long way to make me a lot more excited for this movie to actually come out. My one complaint, that scene at the end where his clothes get flicked away, not my type of humor. That's really not the type of things I like to see. But hopefully it's just a brief scene and then they move on. But everything else, I think, really looks fantastic. I'm getting really excited for this movie. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this one. It may not be like tops on my excitement when there's so many other MCU TV shows and things coming out. But I am very excited. I mean, I feel like they did a great job of Ragnarok, and it feels like they're kind of continuing that style, but also, again, bringing in the Gorr, the God Butcher's darkness to it. So I'm excited. I think this adds to my excitement. It's got the humor, it's got the development. I mean, he's doing a great job as Thor, and I hope it continues because not many actors like to just keep doing Marvel stuff, and he seems all on board for it. So, definitely excited for this, and it's cool to see. I was more nervous, I think, after the first trailer when we talked about it. I was saying I'm kind of nervous about Jane, or because I'm not sure that she can what is her name? I'm blanking on a lot of names today, but
I'm forgetting too.
Anyway, the actress, I wasn't sure she would be able to pull off the Thor version, but actually, she looks like she's doing it great. This made me feel a lot happier about it. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, and what you were saying about Thor Ragnarok, I completely agree. Thor Ragnarok was amazing. The villain was amazing. The storyline was amazing. It had a great mix of humor and seriousness, and I felt like the movie is one of my top Marvel properties. So there was some fear going into this that they were going to try and replicate that, but go way over the top, go too far, and end up ruining it. I kind of feel like there's a little bit of that in Guardians of the Galaxy versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing. Volume 2, they tried to go further, and I think they went too far in some areas. But I don't know. I think these trailers look very promising that they could have an amazing villain again, an amazing storyline, mixing in the humor with the serious. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited. Marvel, again, we'll be covering every Marvel thing that comes out, basically. There's been a lot coming out, so we may miss something or be a little late to get something out, a little slower on some things, but we got to prioritize because there are so many things. We've got 2 TV shows and a movie coming out in the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Or three months.
We're going to be busy, but we're excited to be busy.
Something every month.
Yeah.
So we'll be bringing it to you every time, discussing it. I think in a week or two is when Miss Marvel starts, and we will do weekly discussion videos on each episode. So definitely like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you can see when we're going through and doing those discussions, because you will not want to miss everything we want to talk about with those.
That's right. All right. Thanks for watching.